else have we got? I've got, oh, these are pretty. These came from Lord's Antiques in Ingleton, where I buy a lot of stuff. You should go along and have a look. Oh, honestly, I really ought to learn my lesson about putting things in different bags and being careful with my jewellery and not letting them all get tangled up and horrible. These are, that's all you do, isn't it? You're just going to have to watch me untangle things again and again and again. I'll tell you an awful secret. All of the stuff from the last few reels, I put it all in bags and it's all tangled up again. So when I finally get round to trying to sell it properly, I'm going to have to untangle it again. It's ridiculous. I should get more organised. Do you think I'll be better at this after 15 years? This is super pretty, as you can see. It dates from around the turn of the 20th century, so 1900, give or take a bit. There is a very pretty red stone in the centre, which I haven't tested yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be a synthetic ruby. That's actually why I did my qualifications. Oh God, this is going back a bit, isn't it? Right, so 2007, I was heading up towards being 30 and I was working at Blockbusters as a manager. And I wasn't very proud of myself, and I kind of decided that something had to change. And if I was still at Blockbuster when I was 30, I was going to have to kill myself. Not seriously, but I wasn't happy. It wasn't the right place for me and I wasn't fulfilled. So I went and read The Alchemist, and I decided that I wanted to have an antique shop. I wanted to do antique jewellery, and I decided that I'd go back to being a shop assistant, either in an antique shop and I'd learn the jewellery along the way, or I'd go and work in a jewellery shop and I'd learn the antiques along the way. And then I read The Alchemist, which if you haven't read it, go and read it because it's life-changing. And within a month, that was the dog shaking, by the way, within a month of reading The Alchemist and making this decision, I was the manager of Aberdeen Antique Centre, where I was very happy, and I started working there and I whipped it into shape, and I had fun. I loved my job there. And after a little while I started being an antique dealer, and I sold a bit of everything, and then I decided I wanted to just sell jewellery. And then I found out that synthetic stones were commercially available from about 1898 or something like that, and I realised it's not as simple as saying it's red. It must be a ruby. Or it might be a ruby, or it might be a garnet, or it might be a synthetic ruby, and there's quite a bit of difference between the cost of a synthetic ruby and the cost of a natural ruby, and you really ought to know what you're selling. And being quite a particular person, I went off and I got my qualifications. So if you do want to sell jewellery, go and study with the Gem-A, because it's important to know what you are selling, which is why that may or may not be a ruby, and I will need to do some testing. It's possible that I can look at it and work it out, because if it's, oh God, I think it's a doublet. Well, there you go. Proof's in the pudding. That is actually a doublet. I can't tell what because I haven't got my refractometer, but the very top of the stone is one stone, and then the rest of the stone is something else. It's a sandwich. It's been glued together. It doesn't make it a bad thing. It's actually really cool, but I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't a gemologist. And that's why you can't just say, oh, it's a ruby. I'll come back to you. I will do my proper work. Could be a garnet top doublet, could be a sapphire top doublet, or a ruby top doublet. But either way, it's not as straightforward as it looks. It is, however, very pretty, and we like it.